It's been nice just getting back to just mobile camping, just go where you want. I feel like it legitimately added something back into the equation that I didn't even realize was missing. I don't know when I first started that just like, all right, man, we're doing it. We're
Yeah.
out here. Like, all
Yeah.
right.
Feels wild again, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not out here just to kill birds and train dogs. Like I'm out here for the experience,
Right.
and
Yes.
this is real Montana to me. Like the first time I've ever been here, so like caveat to that. But like it's been cool having a different campsite pretty much every
That's where I was headed to next with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
the like Mad Max train that we have between us, right? Like that's been cool. We've seen a healthy portion of this side of the state, but
Yeah.
it's like we just keep coming back to the Badlandsy type stuff, like right on the edge of it.
Break down your setup because we have a full mobile camping setup this year. This is something that when I first got into this game, I went and I was truck camping. I had a topper, I had a little cot back there, sleeping bag. I mean, I was still in full, I didn't have any fancy gear whatsoever. Like it was very bare bones budget style. And then I kind of graduated. I started making friends, connections. I was sleeping on people's couches, getting invited to cabins and stuff like that. And then last year, I kind of missed the mobile availability or option, and so I got the camper, and that worked fine. But I still found there was something lacking. Always having that base camp. I had to go back to the campground.
Mhm.
Instead of just wherever my feet are, that's where I'm staying. So this year I kind of redid my setup, and it's worked out well to where we've just different public lands offered different options as far as camping. BLM is free to camp. Different states, state lands, county lands, stuff like that. It's unique to every state. But this is something that you've been working on your own rig for the past year or so since we've kind of gotten to know each other. Why don't you describe your setup, then I can describe my setup and just what we like about it, also dislike about it.
Well, and there's advantages and disadvantages to mine, right? Like the advantage is when it's cold, I can get in here and get out of the wind and be very warm and relax. If it's raining, I can get in here and get out of the wind. The disadvantage is that I either have to unhook or I'm towing. So that limits my options as far as like access backing up and turning this thing around. But it's just I think it's a 10-foot square drop trailer. Tiny camper makes it. But the thing's like fully off-road capable, like axle suspension with the timber and axles and lock and roll hitch. And so we've added a bunch of solar and water tanks and put a sink in. And, there's a port for a diesel heater so we can stay warm in the winter. And there's lights all over it and storage for ammo, food, recovery equipment, you name it, dog supplies. So I enjoy it. I like it. It's super off-road capable and it tows nice on the highway. It's like you hardly notice it's back there. But like I said, the disadvantage is that you're towing everywhere you go with what we're kind of doing, where it's like hit a spot, camp, make a walk, hit a spot. So you are hooking up and unhooking a lot. Where with your rig you're even more mobile, but I'm sure that comes with its own set of disadvantages as you go through and figure them out. There's some things I need to do, like recognize we need some more cabinets, right? We need to put in some more
A little
storage in
more
the
storage,
back.
a little more retention.
Yeah, probably need to add a little more solar. Probably extend the battery bank a little bit more would be a good idea. Things like that. But I mean, we can come out here and stay for 2-3 days and then head to town, fill up on water, and come back out. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, we got this thing a year ago. I bought it. He's helped me rig it out, and buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that, and I've done all the manual labor. And we just kind of pieced it together, and now we're just take it everywhere we go hunting now. I took it to Michigan, and it did fantastic.
Oh
Did,
yeah.
did great in Michigan. Perfectly warm, even in the 20-degree nights, man. That diesel heater would run us out of there.
Oh yeah.
Like you had to crank it all the way down, or we were like sweating, dying in there. So it's a cool setup. Shower, 270 awning and everything, so you can keep the dogs out of the sun. Like that's probably what I learned is I need to add another awning to my truck to get even more shade for the dogs while they're on the chain gang. But yeah, other than that, I can't think of anything I didn't cover or that I don't like about it.
Visibility. people know where you are when you have something like this, or you
Yeah,
have to take it with you.
yeah,
Right.
that's fair. It when you're driving through town or driving down the highway, people notice it. And it doesn't help that I have my logo on the back of it.
I was about
It's
to
kind
say you got advertisement on the back and
Yeah.
stickers.
Yeah.
So it does grab people's attention. It's got some bright color things hanging off of it, and everyone stops and asks what it is and where we're going and all that kind of stuff. But that's in particular why we picked this campsite the first time, that first night, because you can drive right by and you never know we're here.
Yeah.
You never know we're here.
I mean, we're, I don't know, half a mile from the nearest road, and yeah, it's cool. I've really enjoyed just setting up camp wherever we are, but just being out in the middle of nowhere, like when
Oh
you're
yes.
there's no sound. I mean, the stars and everything in the sky, like not to get too like overly romantic about that. It makes you feel like, all right, we're in Montana now. All right, like this is what it's about.
I feel like a very, very spoiled pioneer right now.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, yeah, I mean, my setup, I did the camper thing last year, and it worked fine. I took it. I did Colorado, went through Utah, Idaho last year, and then the Northwoods Loop. So all three states there, and it did fine. It did great. But I did find just the hauling of it around. Do you have connections today, not tomorrow? Different stuff like that. I didn't have a solar thing set up for it. So, like, if you didn't have it plugged into your truck or you didn't have a campground with connections, you're losing power pretty fast. So, like, even the benefit of having a fridge and freezer in there, it's kind of like you're still dependent on where you're at. And so, I wanted more of a just self contained something. And so, but part of me, I'm like, yeah, but I already have it. It's already in the driveway. Like it's already ready to go. If I want to add solar, I can do that. But then I started looking at the price of what it was to haul it around, upkeep. Campers crap's always failing on it. You're always replacing something. So I start doing the math, and I did the math on the trip last year, and with gas, I mean, so my truck averages like 19 miles an hour, miles per the gallon, and with the camper, it shot it down to like 13, 14, somewhere in there, depending
Yeah.
on the terrain that I was hauling it in. And you start adding in the mileage, and man, when I compared it to if I just got like an Airbnb or a hotel room, like moderately priced, it's pretty much dead nuts even. Like it was just a wash, and I'm like, why am I hauling this around when financially, like I could still set myself up with a home base somewhere at a cabin or something. So anyway, long story short, sold the camper, moved into this, started figuring it out. I mean, this is just in the past like month and a half, 2 months that I decided to like last second go figure do all this. And so sold the camper, got a bed rack to go over the B Pro kennels so I could throw a rooftop tent up there. And that was the main thing to start with, like, all right, where am I going to lay my head at night? And then added on a road shower, which has been kind of nice as pressurized water, like the luxuries in life. That's been nice. And then the 270 awning, which it's out right now. It gives the dog shade and everything. But yeah, it's worked out really nice. The solar we couldn't get to work because the solar panel that went on the rooftop tent isn't compatible with the battery station that I had and whatnot. But here I am. I'm making do just fine without it. Would definitely be nice, and that's something that I'm gonna finish that out. But really, aside from power, I'd say water's really the most limiting thing, and it may be more just so on this trip because it is early season. But when you factor in not only just the water that we camp with and cook with and even wash off with and stuff like that, but the hunting, the dogs, ourselves, it's one of those like while the road shower carries 8 gallons and I have two 6 gallon containers, that's 20 gallons of water. It's last, I've been having to refill every 2 days or so. It goes back quick.
Well, you're filling up every two. You're not empty though. You could
No,
go. You could
yeah,
go another day.
I could stretch it if I had to,
Yeah.
but when it's just like, well, let's run into town. Let's just do
I mean,
it
you got
real
to think
quick.
every time we're loading up our vests, we're carrying a gallon
Yeah.
between four
Yeah.
water bottles. So you do 2 walks a day with 3 people. You do the math there.
Yeah.
Because we're carrying 26 gallons, and it gets us, day 3, you need to start figuring out where you're going for water. I'd say water, power, fuel are the 3 things that like are always in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Because we burn a bit more power nightly than you. You know, you have the big expenses like when you do something like this, but daily running the refrigerator and then everything else is 12 volts. So
Yeah.
we have to make sure every day we get plenty of stability where the solar can do its job.
Yeah, because I haven't really, I mean, aside from charging collars and, doing the occasional podcast with all this equipment, I'm not really drawing much power. But I would like to get to where I do have a portable fridge or freezer so that, it's been nice coming back to camp and we just cook the birds that we shoot in the day. We've been having some great meals at night. And so I've enjoyed that aspect of it. But I would like to take it home. And I hate doing the cooler ice dance. I've done it enough times. It's such a pain and having to. It's like right now, I got ice yesterday morning or so, and it's completely gone in the small cooler that I have, and it's just I don't want to. It's one thing to have to go into town to get water.
Yeah.
It's another thing to go into town to buy a bag of ice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why does frozen water feel worse to buy? Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, that and like he said, this is our first time out here. We didn't realize that on this side of the state, man, towns are 80 miles apart. Like,
Yeah.
you're
Everything's
driving
an
an
hour
hour, and then plus you got to get out of the Badlands and back onto a road and then the hour to town.
Yeah.
So like we didn't realize that. But I mean, it's worked out. I haven't had any
Yeah.
issues so far.
The only other thing that I could think of, and I have no idea what I could do, at least with my setup, is the dust, the dirt from the driving. You guys have seen me. I've been cleaning out the dogs' boxes. Like I feel horrible for them just breathing in that junk every time we drive somewhere. But that's the only thing. I have no idea what I could do for the dog box. But that's my main concern. Everything else can get dust on it. I'll clean that off, hose it off, whatever. But it's just the dust getting in the dog box. That's what bugs me.
Gonna have to talk to Ben about some sort of positive air pressure.
That's what I was thinking too. Is just figure out how to get positive airflow in there, but that it still has to be confined. Like I don't know. There's got to be something I can think of.
Gonna be some way, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I figured out how to get AC piped into the bed of my truck. So, the dogs have been enjoying the nice, it's 80, 90 degrees while we're driving and they're in there and it's like 65 or 70 and they're all like shivering cold.
Talk about how you literally rigged up the entire back of your truck with an AC system for your dogs, and that's how you get around in southern Georgia all year.
Oh, dude. And it pays dividends, especially how hot it is down there running client dogs back and forth to training sites. I'm talking just like obedience dogs. So like, Meemaw's fat shepherd that she brought that cannot get hot or he's going to have problems. But it's a EcoFlow Wave 2 hooked up to 400 watts of flexible solar panels on the roof. And I just built a bulkhead out of plexiglass and some steel strap, cut the hole to fit their vent system. The key is having the AC unit inside the cab, right? Because it's only going to cool the ambient air temperature by 20 degrees. And the harder it has to work, the more power it draws. So I deleted my back seats and put in just a flat deck in there that I built. So I keep the AC unit in front where I can crank my truck's AC. So it's 60 degrees in my cab and it's cooling it down below that. So generally I'm shooting 39 to 36 degree air in the back of the truck. And then through that bulkhead, through the vent system goes in there. I've got a bed rug in the back to help insulate some, it's got to have some small R factor of some sort. And on top of that's a decked bed slide and 4 rough ones strapped down. So, that's how we keep it cold back there. And they're plenty fine and happy. I got to monitor my app and make sure I'm not overdrawing power. But the cool part is once I do get it cold back there, I can turn the AC off and just put it on fan mode. So I'm not drawing, a couple watts. And the solar will recharge while it's doing that. So now the bed's cool. I'm just drawing the cold air out of the cab and shooting it in the back. And I think on the drive up here at night, one time I looked and it was like 62 degrees in the bed of the truck. It was freezing cold back there. So
They're living the high life back there.
yeah,
Mhm.
yep. So, just rough ones with some Primo pads in there so they're comfortable for the 30-hour drive. And start off with water buckets in each kennel, and that's probably not going to be a lasting thing because it just gets messy. And
Yeah.
we'll probably just stop and water the dogs more
I mean, that's
often.
my thing with the water. Like, my dogs don't have access to water 24/7 when they're at home in their kennels. Them driving down the road,
What
every
difference is it?
every few times we stop, like, all right, here's some water, and then Rachel, especially most of the time, she's like, I don't care about that. Lucy will be like, I'll take a little bit of it, and Quinn will just be like, I'll take all of it.
I'll drink it all. Yeah. Creek is usually like, I will drink 5 gallons, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a poodle pointer thing. They're going to
Poodle
drink
pointers,
all the water they can get their little mouths on.
All of it.
They chug it.
But yeah, man, I mean, it's a neat rig. It's a neat system. Like, I'm loving it. I got a little Baby Max diesel Colorado, and that thing's got all the torque. So
Yeah.
I can't complain. Like, I don't feel undergunned out here at all. I don't see anything that I don't think I can make it through just looking around, based off the previous driving courses I've been to. So,
Well, anybody listening to this that wants to put eyes on it, check out the YouTube channel. It'll be on this episode on the video podcast. If you're only listening to the audio one, go hit subscribe on YouTube. Check it out. A lot of these recent episodes have been really popular on YouTube, some of the training stuff and everything. But check out the rigs. Well, I'll have some stuff kind of overlaid on this episode in terms of the rig if they're curious about it. But yeah, it's been nice just getting back to just mobile camping, just go where you want. Set up shop. I've really enjoyed that a lot more than what I actually thought. Like, first I'm like, it's just practical. Now it's just like, no, I feel like it legitimately added something back into the equation that I didn't even realize was missing. It feels like, I don't know, when I first started, that just like, all right, man, we're doing it. We're out here. We're all right.
feels wild again, right?
Yeah.
I'm not out here just to kill birds and train dogs. Like, I'm out here for the experience.
Right.
Yes.
This is real Montana to me. Like, the first time I've ever been here, so like, caveat to that. But like, this is not, you're not staying in a hotel in town. Like, you're just out here doing the damn thing. So
Yeah.